Welcome back to my channel. My name is Keisha Kiki LaFleur, and of course I had to do the whip for you. Come on, like, this wouldn't be glow up real talk if I wasn't keeping it real with you. All right? Now I know you want to take care of your hair underneath these wigs and these weave, because part of it is you having a protective hairstyle. But the problem though, like, trust me, I know what the problem is. The problem is that when you take out your hair, it's good the first couple of times. You do it, you like it, it's long. And then after a while you start to realize, well, correction, let me back up. So that it's long, and then you decide, well, I'm not gonna put no weave in just yet. Like, I'm gonna chill, like, I like my length. And next thing you know, couple of wears, couple of weeks, couple of months, you realize your hair is starting to fall off. It's starting to break off. It's starting to be brillower to the point where it's unruly. It doesn't behave well. And then you go back, resorting back to the wigs. And it's an ongoing cycle of fucking with your emotions. Okay? I'm going to show you what you're really supposed to do when it comes down to taking care of your hair underneath these wigs, so that when you're ready to enjoy your hair, you'll enjoy it for a longer period of time. You may not like everything you hear, but if I was you, I would subscribe. Alright, so now that the intro is open, I'm coming in strong with you guys. First of all, this is mainly conversation for the girls who wear their wigs. And I'm going to you mainly as far as priority first is because there's more flexibility in the way that you care for your hair compared to someone who's wearing weaves or other stuff. Like, they have to be a little bit more meticulous. Not that they can't do it, you absolutely can. So you can take bits and pieces of what I'm saying, but I would recommend you girlies who do the weaves and tracks and things like that to maybe consider switching to wigs if your ultimate goal is to make sure you're taking care of your hair underneath. Like, your protective style, it should be purpose driven. If it's not purpose driven, then what is the point? And a lot of sacrifice comes into that purpose. So like I said, you all may not like to hear everything I have to say, but nonetheless, I'm gonna give it right to you. For you guys who love your hair, who would love to see your hair be long and stay long, in all actuality, I almost guarantee it that you guys definitely want to keep your length retention, and I guarantee you that you're not doing enough for your hair. That's the biggest, how I should say, contribution that the commitment that you have to apply is going to be a little bit heavier than you're used to. And it's a sacrifice, you know, it's a sacrifice of your time, but it's for you. And it comes with self-care and that will of making sure you getting it done. And it's going to take breaking out some old cycles and some old habits, because most of us are not used to doing a certain amount to our hair on a consistent basis. And even if it's the bare minimum, if you're not used to it, it's easy to skip days, it's easy to neglect, it's easy to give yourself excuses, so on and so forth, i.e. procrastination. And in all reality, what's going to suffer is you not seeing the results, which is ultimately you in the end. So how bad do you want it? You have to ask yourself, how bad do you want it? And if you want it bad enough, you will commit to the time and dedication it takes to get the results you want. I look at it like this. In 6 months from now, do I want to deal with the consequences of not doing it and not seeing the results, or do I want to just get my butt up right now and do what I gotta do so that in 6 months I'm freaking smiling? And I always use that as like a goal, a way of motivating myself. With that being said, your hair needs to be moisturized in such a way that it retains that moisture, and you have to do it strategically, and you have to be on a schedule. And the reason why I said earlier it's best for the girls with wigs, because you can take those things off and then do what you need to do. I take my wigs off daily. I do not sleep with my wigs. Here's why. You lose your edges. I ain't need a drum roll. You lose your edges. Like, think about it. It's not silk. It's not satin. And even though you think it ain't rubbing, it's rubbing. Trust me. I've tried it. And growing back my edges as we speak, to the point where now it's like, I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson, okay? Because I do not want to look at my hair and see bald patches. And, so it's best to take off. I almost went on a rant. I caught myself. It's best to take off your wigs at night. That's why I said for the girlies that wear the tracks and things like that, it's going to be a little bit, it's definitely going to be harder to maneuver. Not impossible, because what I'm about to tell you is not impossible, but it's definitely trickier. And in a sense where I feel like when your hair is in braids and it's in tracks and things like that, you can't really get in there to clean it as often. Or it doesn't breathe as often, and you're constantly wetting it, that leads to bacteria and dandruff and everything else, and smells and so on and so forth, which is why some girls, when they do have those tracks, they don't wash their hair very often. Whew, that was a little bit of a mouthful, but it's a little bit tricky. But nonetheless, you have to keep your hair moisturized, you guys. That was the one thing that I did. I switched up when it came to making sure that my hair was getting as much moisture as I possibly could have done. And I know that you hear a lot of people say, you know, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that when it comes to your hair, and it gets very confusing very quickly on what you shouldn't do. But wetting your hair and giving it the maximum amount of moisture that it can soak up every single day adds up to your hair becoming more and more healthier. But again, you have to do it in the, I forget, what do you call it? The CEO, wait. Hold on, let me think about it.
5 minutes later.
I don't know. I don't remember. But it's pretty much this. So here's the process. Here's the steps. And this is what I mean. I hope all this clears it up for you. Every single day, you're going to do the method where it requires you to spritz your hair, then add a emollient moisturizer, like a leave-in conditioner, for example, or a cream. And then you're going to top it off with a sealing oil. All of this stuff you probably already have in your house. You don't have to leave. You don't have to buy anything extra. You can buy stuff extra later when you know what your hair needs, so on and so forth. I would stick though to keeping moisture. So anything that gives your hair moisture to start off, start with that. So what you're first going to do is, I personally do not use water, but that is one of the, I guess, ways of wetting your hair. I use a leave-in conditioning spray or detangling spray, things like that, first to wet my hair. And then I would go ahead and put on my leave-in conditioner cream. So this is an emollient, and it's going to that's where most of your moisture is coming from, that leave-in conditioner. And then I will seal it off with the oil. Now, I know some of you already know this information, but here's the part that you have to understand. You have to do this every day.
Say what now?
Yes. Sorry. This is why I said a little spat earlier, where I said, you know, you're just going to have to do a couple of things you're not used to doing, so on and so on. Well, it's that. It's pretty much doing it every single day. Why? Let me tell you why. Your hair is thirsty. It's thirsty. And you have to give it moisture. I'm sorry. You do. It just like that's what it needs. It requires. And think about it. It's underneath a hot wig. It has fake tracks attached to it, absorbing moisture. Like all this is taking moisture away. And then throughout the day, by the time, trust me, you put it on in the morning, you feel that stuff at night, and you're like, how is it dry like this? Like, but after a while, your hair starts to get softer. You start to notice that, ooh, as you're applying in the beginning, especially if your hair is really dry, putting the stuff on, your hair is going to be like, okay, this is going to be dranked up in 2 hours. And then the next day, a little bit, maybe 3 hours. The next day, 4 hours. Like your hair is starting to slowly get used to having moisture and keeping moisture. But that's what you're training it to do. You're training it to keep itself moisturized. That's the purpose of doing it every single day. Now, do you have to do it every single day forever? No.
Oh, thank God.
No, that's not ideal, because once your hair is no longer high porosity and it's then low porosity, you can then go on a maintenance. You can then like go on a maintenance mode, like with your moisture, your hair be able to hold and retain moisture. I guess within a week you do it 2 times, but you would then, by then, you would know what your hair feels like optimally at its peak and when it doesn't. So, you know, when your hair is fully moisture, you want to like take it back some steps, you would know how many steps you'd be able to take it back to, because your hair is going to tell you what it needs, period. And that's the other thing. I feel like we don't listen to our bodies enough, and they tell us exactly what they need. When you notice that your hair is softer, smoother, just stronger, okay? When it has the maximum amount of moisture, we don't lock that in and say, you know, I need to make sure I keep feeding my hair moisture. On top of eating better, on top of drinking a lot of water, like your hair needs water, believe it or not. Like I know in my other Glow Up Real Talk, I talked about facials and how important water was. It's just as important for your hair. And if you haven't heard it before, trust me, it's important for your hair elasticity, like everything. And granted, there is a process, but I'm not giving you all that right now. If you want to know the rest of the process, how to maintain it long term, right now I'm just giving you the blueprint. Keep your hair moisturized. And for those who have the tracks, you do the same thing. The only reason why I say it's different is because you're gonna have to wash your hair a little bit more often, especially if your hair starts to smell a little bit, because you're constantly keeping it wet and those braids are tight mostly. So sometimes the water and everything else can't cleanse them out as properly. But also if your hair is styled a certain way, you wouldn't even want to. You like once you get your hair done, especially if you get your hair done at the salon, you don't even wanna mess up your style by moisturizing your braids. And those again the complication, which is why I said I recommend you girls who want to actually take more care of your hair, switch over to wigs. It's a simple process, but it's not simple when you do. Just do it every single day. Keep your hair moisturized with that simple process. If you want to know more, I don't want to scare you guys away, so I'm not giving you everything. And also, I don't even know who's listening. Do you care? If you care, let me know in the comments. Thank you. Otherwise, closed mouths do not get fed. Right now, I'm giving you the one thing that you don't hear about at all, which is how to take care of your hair, and that is to keep it moisturized every single night, every single day. Try not to do it while you have your wig on, unless you know, like, by the time I get home, I'm not doing nothing but sleep. Okay, I would do it, go out, have fun, whatever, but don't make that a habit, mainly because you don't want to have the wig on while it tries to dry. I like to do it at night where I don't have the wig on, so that my hair can air dry, so quote unquote. I always have it tied up, but it's like there's air getting there compared to when you're out in the day and it's being smothered. don't smother anything wet, okay? We all know to avoid mold, you have to let things air out, and it's the same thing for your heads, guys. So don't do that. Don't do it often. I do it once in a blue, but it's not often at all. So yeah, that was a quick tidbit on how to keep your beautiful locks long, luscious, and strong while you wear your weaves. So weaves, wigs, so on and so forth. If you like, please thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye now.